Good morning, everybody. This is Martin John, and we are a minute late. But just forgive me on that. I do have my mobile hotspot all set up, so we're all good. And I can't open my kombucha. There we go. All right, so we're all good. We're here. We're live. We are talking about the Tao Te Ching. The Tao Te Ching is an ancient text written about 600 BCE, and it consists of 81 chapters of all sorts of enigmatic wisdom on how to live a more reasonable life. What do I mean by live a reasonable life? Well, if you're with me regularly, you know it's because what I mean is that we live a life in which we're not asking others to change for us. We are allowing things to be as they are, and we get to be as we are. That doesn't mean, and when we talk about surrendering to Tao and surrendering to what is and allowing things to be as they are, that's what we mean. We mean allowing them to be as they are. That doesn't mean we succumb to them or we submit to them. We are equally as we are. So, you know, a lot of people are like, well, if someone's going to be a narcissist, well, how can you just allow them to be a narcissist? Well, there's no problem with them being a narcissist. If you don't entertain their being a narcissist, you allow them to be that. You don't expect things. I remember talking to a client one time, and their partner was a liar. Like, there's no way around that. He lied, and he even struggles with, lying. And it was part of his, development and whatnot, and it was part of his addictions and other things. He was a liar. And I had to let her know, like, look, there's nothing wrong with him being a liar. She's like, but I don't want to be lied to. And I was like, well, don't expect him to tell the truth, and you can move from there. Like whether or not you want to stay in this relationship, you can stay in this relationship, but you can't have an expectation of him telling the truth. If somebody told you they don't expect you to tell the truth because you lie all the time, you're going to think about that, especially if there's someone that you love. You may, from the outside, think, well, then that's a free, they can lie. Well, yeah, but then that's fine. The person that they're lying to, or the person that's saying, I don't expect you to tell the truth, isn't going to ever believe them. And if nobody was going to believe you and you were a liar, lying wouldn't mean anything to you, right? And that's how, like in a nutshell, that's how Tao spreads. That's how self-respect spreads. When you have self-respect and someone wants to be respected by you because you have self-respect, they're not going to be disrespectful to themselves. And maybe they will. Maybe they're going to try and be like, oh, I can say whatever I want. Now, yeah, but nobody believes you. So what's it matter? It doesn't even matter if you lie, because no one believes you even when you tell the truth. I don't know why I'm talking about this, but it came up. It's just in my mind, this idea that, like, allow other people to be as they are. And then eventually you start looking inside yourself and saying, I want to be more than this. I want to be more than disregarded. I want to be more than angry. I want to be more than what it is I'm wrapped up in. It's not easy being out here in the world and there's so many expectations that we have of other things. When I talk about living a more reasonable life, it's like, why would you expect people to change? Now, you want to change for yourself, and you're going to, but you can't start changing for yourself and expecting other people to want and do the same. That's not reasonable. You've gotten here through a subjective experience of your life. Your life is spelled out in a very specific way that brought you to this point, brought you maybe listening to me, maybe being on Noom, maybe pushing yourself to a new level, pushing yourself to be something new, to be something else, to be something more than you were. A lot of times, I know for myself, I got caught up in being like, well, I am what is expected of me, and that's enough. No one's going to expect me not to be upset about this thing happening, whatever this thing happens to be in my life, right? No one expects me to not be upset when this happens. I remember one time I got so upset at my doctor because they said that they were going to hold something of mine, and that the doctor came in and said, I will take personal responsibility for this. I was shocked because I don't know any doctor that would ever say that because of the amount of responsibility that they have and the amount of patience that they have. But because she said that, I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll leave my images here then. Well, they invariably lost the images, and I was upset. No one would fault me for being upset. However, I knew better. I knew better than the doctor that she would never be able to keep those, which is why I was shocked that she said what she did. She looked at me and then said, well, I would never say that. Well, that made me sort of very upset, and I had to let it go. It took a while, but eventually I had to let it go because it was like, I can't assume that she's anything other than what she is, and this is what she is in front of me at this moment, and that's fine. I can't expect or get myself all worked up because I deserve or she said or whatever. This is where we're at right now. This is what's happening right now, and when I can receive that which is happening right now, then I'm just going to accept things as they are. That doesn't mean that I have to stay with her as a patient. It doesn't mean that I have to accept all of this. And it just means that I have to take more responsibility for myself. It just means that, I can't believe what you say. And you're here for an emergency if I'm going to stay with you as a doctor. So that's the crux of this. Like, you can't rely on other people to do what they say. You can't rely on other people to be who they tell you they're going to be. You just take them as they are. And so if somebody says one thing and then a week later is doing something completely different, you receive that. You say, okay, you've done that. Now you can bring it up and you can say, hey, I don't like that you did this. But maybe, I remember I've talked to so many clients. I was like, the crazy thing isn't that this person is being who they have proved themselves to be. It's that you believe they're going to change. Why would they change? They haven't changed yet, right? And then a lot of people say, but they're my mother, or they're my father, or they're this, or they're that, and they're not supposed to do that. It's like, well, yeah. You then are looking at your frame of reference of what a mother or a father is supposed to be. You're not looking at them. We're looking at what they're supposed to be. We're not actually looking at what's happening in front of us. We're looking at an ideal that they have never lived up to, that we're holding them to so that we can be aggrieved. This is not living reasonably. The Tao Te Ching talks about, let's live a more reasonable life. Let's accept them for as they are. That doesn't mean we have to submit to them. We surrender to the fact that they are who they are, and we act accordingly. We do what we need to accordingly. We don't put them down. We don't not love them. We don't not embrace them. We don't not give them respect, but we don't allow ourselves to disrespect ourselves in the process. I have two people in line, Deanna Minter and Cecilia. Cecilia, I hope you have a moment. I'm going to bring Deanna up. I think she was first. And Deanna, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Welcome to Tao of the Day.
Thank you.
Have you heard this show before?
I have not. I'm new to Noom Vibe.
You're new to Noom Vibe. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
Are you surprised to be talking to me?
Yes, I am. I've
Okay,
never
that's
done
what I
this before.
thought.
Yeah.
That's okay. So I'm gonna give you a quick rundown of what's going on so you don't freak out. So this Noom Vibe is a place where you can connect and talk with people one-on-one. Now, you may see on your phone or on your iPad or whatnot, like a timer. Like for my show, we've set it up so that you and I can talk for 15 minutes. We don't have to, though. I'm gonna give you the out because you're new to all of this. But usually, what happens is you and I will have a little conversation, and on this show, I'd ask you to pick a number between 1 and 81. I'm not going to do that unless you would like to, but that's because there are 81 verses in the Tao Te Ching. The Tao Te Ching is an ancient text, and I use it sort of as an oracle, as a way of like giving you a little something to meditate on for the day, or something to think about, something to carry with you, whatnot. Other people talk about all sorts of things, but when you click that click me button and that little cat or whatnot, you will come up on stage. I will select you to come up on stage with me up here, and then you and I will have a conversation for however long we want to talk or however long that timer is for. When your timer runs out, you can always come back up and chat again and whatnot. So that's how this all works. And I'm really glad that you're listening and you're checking me out and clicking about. But if you'd like, I can drop you off, and I have Cecilia in, and you can listen to how one of these goes.
I'll listen. I'm at work and I'm just
that sounds good.
taking a break from my morning because I came in at like before 5 o'clock.
Oh, wow. And what time zone are you in?
Eastern.
Eastern. Okay, so you've been there for a little while already. What do you do?
Yes. I'm a quality coordinator.
Quality coordinator. Well, we need people coordinating quality, that's for sure.
Yeah, we do.
Well, I'm really glad to connect with you. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll cross paths again.
Yeah, I hope so. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, we're going to bring Cecilia up.
Morning.
Hey, are you in Florida?
So yeah. Sorry, no, 1 second. It's a slow day. Oh, you're gonna get crazy busy shortly, so don't worry about it. Yes, I'm in for Stuart Martin, John.
That's okay.
To the news, it seems like it's going to be close, but not.
Fantastic. Getting ready for either tropical storm or hurricane, who knows. But, I'm just getting my water because I'll drink it anyway. I'm talking to you now, Martin, John.
Oh, okay.
I'm here.
Wonderful. Yeah, you are in Florida, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
and what a time
exciting.
to be there. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Like I said, part of the adventure.
Yeah, absolutely. And everything that we, like I was just writing a birthday card to somebody and just like, and I know them and I've known them for 3 years or whatever. And it was just like, wow, like the amount, like when I can step back and look at.
Have a great day. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Oh, everybody does that.
Thanks. Go ahead. Sorry. I'm listening.
When I can step back and look at what I've observed in their life over the last 3 or 4 years or whatnot, like you can see that everything just aligns perfectly. Like, even with you, since meeting you 3 years ago, like on this app and whatnot, just seeing how your life unfolds, it's all like, oh, this must have been planned. Like, we don't know necessarily where we're going, but we know where we are, and we know how we got here. And we got here through a series of amazing, things. Thinking about Julie and her trip and her bicycle trip, and now she's doing all the pet sitting across Europe or across England and stuff. Like, it's amazing to see how it all.
that when I left New York, and so my first spot was Asheville, North Carolina. I was going to visit a friend, and I was only planning to stay there for a few days, and that's what I did. And then I moved on, and I went to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I was like, I've never been there. It's the summertime. It's the beach. I know I can get a job really easily. Wound up working in a Westgate resort, as a bartender there. And and this place at Myrtle Beach that I just thought, sorry, everyone, it was an absolute dump. I was like, why do people go here to vacation? This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I have to say, too, that is the place where I feel like I woke up,
Yeah.
Like this place that was like, to me, was sad. It was like full of drugs. You could feel the depression around. That's why I didn't understand why people were going there to vacation when it was just like so sorry, that's how it felt anyway. But that place, so dark and so sad, is where I wound up working with a coach, and it's like my first coach ever. And I remember him telling me to trust the process, and I didn't really understand I didn't understand at the time what that meant. But now I get it.
Now you get it. Yeah, the process that like if you had to trust, like the amount of trust that you have had to muster to get to where you are right now, to get to be able to, be here as you are, like that's a lot of trust.
Yeah.
Go on.
I was just loving what you were saying about, like expecting so much from like our parents, who are human beings just trying to make their way through this adventure as well, and learn along the way too, but we expect so much from them because they're our parents and they should know. Right. They should be doing this or that, and now I'm just like, wow, it just makes everything so much easier when you have like no expectations on even someone like your mother or your father to be a certain way,
right.
It's just way more free.
Yeah. I mean, you had an experience growing up that brought you to where you are. Mm-hmm. Now you could take where you are and shit all over it because it's not where you think you should be, but this is exactly where you should be.
Of course, because that's where I am.
That's where you are. Like, so what? What else is there? Mm-hmm. Like this is your opportunity to get the most out of this life, this moment right now. Like nobody is going to live more life than you, even if you pass away as a child. That life is lived completely.
Oh, I was just having this conversation with someone recently. It's my friend's aunt who is from Trinidad, and she sends me her like poetry every Sunday. And
you live a good life. Your poetry every Sunday, like this is like
she sent, it's so beautiful, And I've never met her, but my friend thought that me and her aunt would really get along, and it was a good match, and I agree. And even though I have never met her aunt, and her aunt is in Trinidad, but she was saying to me recently how my experience, especially like with a lot of my family in the past year, my aunt, my uncle, and my mother all passing, making their transition out of this earthly adventure, and then 2 friends in the same year, so 5 people. But she was saying that, how I understand, I don't remember exactly what we were talking about. Oh, being like an end of life doula, and how I understand how people haven't lived their life fully. And I was like, well, I don't necessarily see it that way. I believe it was their journey, like that was their full life for them, like I don't think we're all supposed to be on the same like mission or journey.
Yeah.
And for them, it was their full life. I didn't feel like they were robbed or they were cheated. I don't know how they feel.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Like, because this is your experience. This is the end of their time, and this is your experience of the end of their time, right? Like, they're having their own experience. Their body's ended, but they're still having some experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't feel like I'm sure, parents that have children that have made transitions like early on would disagree with me, but I believe that, we're all here on our own special, unique journey. And who says that we're supposed to make it to 105, or 3 even, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
I think it's different. And I think when we also come to that place of just the understanding of that, for me, it just, I don't know, it became a lot easier where like, I don't feel like devastated by loss, like it doesn't feel like loss to me. It's like, well, that was their journey.
That's right.
It was theirs.
Yeah. Like, wait, what, like you like, it's always funny. It's just like, you lost something. Like, well, I lost my mother. It was just like, well, they weren't yours. You either needed to appreciate them when they were around. Now they're gone. You didn't lose anything. Like, you just maybe you didn't appreciate something when it was around, or you didn't realize, or you didn't, like, you took things for granted, but you didn't lose anything. This is still your life, and you can find your mother in everything.
Right.
Because your mother's still within you.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was going to say about loss, like, I don't know. I lost my train of thought. I lost my train of thought.
Yeah. And the thing is that, maybe we're somewhere else where that doesn't, go.
That's suffering. We're choosing suffering by doing that and not allowing. I'm reading A Course in Miracles, and yesterday's lesson is so awesome. And I think like another way to find freedom, right? Like that's what I'm always after, as much freedom, right? And yesterday was, let all things be exactly as they are.
Oh, yeah.
All things.
That's right. All things. All things.
And that means people too. Like, don't try and change people, or, even again, something like, you think you lost something or someone. Let all things be exactly as they are, because that is just acceptance, allowance, and just pure freedom.
And that even means you.
Yeah, take a deep breath now, and like let it go. All things.
Right. And if there's something that you just can't currently seem to let go of, let that be too. Because it's not just, Dr. Rao and I have talked about this before, this idea that, like, even your judgment of yourself that you want to get rid of, like, that's here now. And, okay, you've tried to calm yourself through it. Well, this is where I start talking about the idea that, well, you're going to do it until you don't.
Yeah. And that made sense to me too many years ago, where I finally understood, like, where I, these things that, like, let's say stories about myself where I felt like some shame, or things like I did maybe to try and get love from others when I was younger, and not understanding that it's always here all around, right? But when I understood that and accepted all of that, and was like, I understand where I was at the time, and there's nothing to hold like against me. And that was just another layer of like, okay, that's gone too now. I don't think of anything as like cringeworthy anymore.
Right.
I just understand like where I was at the time, and I whatever, not a big deal. But
in order to be here,
for so many years it was.
Right. In order to be here, you had to be there. Because that was your transfer stop. That was where you had to like get off the train and get on another train so you can get to where you're going. It's just, yep, you got to be there. You had to go to Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
You know, and like
That's what I
Myrtle
just
Beach
thought
could
was
be,
weirdest.
yeah. And we could use that name, like Myrtle Beach. Oh, it's just, I'm in Myrtle Beach, you know, like you're in this space where there's just like seagulls and French fries are strewn everywhere. And it's like, I don't know, this place is crazy and this isn't where I want to be. And we've all been to Myrtle Beach in one way or another, you know, like.
And the seagulls and the French fries were fun. The fun part of it.
Yeah,
you know?
right. Those are the bright parts.
Right, compared to all the darkness that I thought was
Right.
surrounding me. But you know, it's really interesting. I was running a hostel in Myrtle Beach. There were 6 of us that came to like this awareness. 6 of us at that same time, you know.
Yeah.
Like all going through something, like some really transformational period in our time. 6 of us walked away from there like, wow, with an understanding and appreciation and such gratitude for life where we didn't have when we first got there, you know?
Yeah.
I thought
We're
that was
all
pretty amazing.
transitioning. We're all transitioning beautifully right now, you know, into this new spirit mind that I talk about. And it's it's time. It's time.
Yeah.
You know, like, and once you make that first step, it's almost like it takes more work to turn around than just move forward.
Yeah.
You know,
Train,
and it's good.
I love it.
Yeah. So we're down to a minute. So you want to pick a number and then we'll.
Oh, sure. We could do it randomly and I could just listen.
Okay, sounds good. I also
like to do
have Julie on, so let me read 74, and then
Great.
we'll bring Julie up and chat with her.
Okay, so yeah, I'll just sit here for my minute and then that's it.
Sounds good. So
Okay, thanks.
this one is entitled "Don't Cut Yourself," and you know what a beautiful verse for us for all that we're talking about. And what this reads is, people are not naturally afraid to die. It's what they're born to do. Fear of death is important if you want to rule over people. However, you must artificially instill this fear in their hearts. To accomplish this, you kill as an example to control the masses. Since the beginning of time, there has been one executioner. Trying to take its place would lead to nothing good. As a novice with the master carpenter's tools, you're going to cut yourself. What I see here, you know, as related to everything we're talking about, is just like what you said from Course in Miracles yesterday. Let everything be as it is. You don't have to control other people. You don't have to get people to agree with you. You don't have to get people to do things one way. Now, death is a big deal, and it's a big topic that everybody gets to engage in one way or another. But I'm going to reread this. I'm going to pause and talk about different sections as it relates to what we've been talking about. People are not naturally afraid to die. It is what they are born to do. We are all born to just be. We're all born to trust the process. We're all born to not be afraid. Now, if we get rid of to die and we say people are not naturally afraid, is what we're born to face. Life is what we're born to face. Anything that life brings us is what we're here to do. It's our subjective experience that we're able to experience this right now. We're not going to be afraid of it. We're only going to be afraid of it if, as it says, fear or fear of death is important if you want to rule over people. If you want to rule over people, you have to instill fear in their hearts in one way or another. However, that's going to be artificial. You must artificially instill this fear into their hearts. To accomplish this, you kill as an example to control the masses. This is about connecting. This is about giving them the supposeds. My childhood was supposed to be like this. You should have done this. This is giving them a measuring stick. Getting people to measure good and bad and right and wrong and all of that stuff. And it's just like, then it's like, it's good to be this, it's bad to be this, you're judged to be this, and we're going to kick you out if you're like this. This is all about, hey, look, everything is as it is. And yes, it is talking about death. I'll give you. It is talking about death. However, it is really talking about everything. People are not naturally afraid to die. It is what we are born to do. Fear of death is important if you want to rule over people. However, it must be you must artificially instill this fear into their hearts. To accomplish this, you kill as an example to control the masses. And this has been done in so many different ways, right? You kill people's dreams. You kill people's ambition. You kill people's desire to be something other than what you want them to be by shaming them, right? All that cringeworthy stuff that you were talking about. That's all out there because that's how you control the masses. Since the beginning of time, there's been one executioner. This is, God or Tao or however we want to describe it, right? There's one person there's one thing that is like guiding all this, all the inspiration, all the life, all the, and this is what Tao is talking. This is what we talk about when we talk about Tao. Trying to take its place will lead to nothing good. Trying to control what's going to happen rather than trusting the process, as Cecilia was talking about earlier. That's not going to lead to anything good. Taking control, trying to be in control is not going to turn out very well for any of us. Because as a novice with the master carpenter's tools, you're going to cut yourself. And that's the thing, like both Cecilia and I have had histories we've talked about, and those histories have led us individually, because we all have subjective experiences of life, into these experiences that we're currently having. And those take years sometimes to unfold, take years to get to a place where we have overcome those fears that have been installed within us. So don't cut yourself. Thank you guys so much. Yours truly is going to be coming up, and then I got Quilly in line. Quilly, I'll be with you as soon as I'm done with Julie. Would love to chat with you. Julie, how are you doing, man? You're muted. I don't know did you get a call as soon as I brought you up?
Hello, I'm back again. Sorry.
Okay, good. How are you? Where'd you go? Are you still mad today? You don't seem so mad today.
No, I'm all right. I'm kind of filled up with lots of new information, which is really lovely.
Yeah, where'd you get that?
It just comes. It just comes from various different places.
Yeah.
And it gets my mind ticking over and my heart sort of singing, really. That everything is, for me, kind of vibrational, and that I am also a vibration, and from that sort of stance, the experiences that I have can be interesting. They can be interesting because I get to play with it. I get to play with the experiences that I have by the kind of the way that I view things. It can really change a day. It can really change a feeling. It can really change an experience. And that's kind of interesting. But back to the vibrations and frequencies and all of this stuff. Where I've been kind of getting a lot of information of late is from the lovely Nikola Tesla.
Okay, yeah.
And his mind and his way of viewing the world was extraordinary. And he was very kind and sharing that with the world. You know, he actually made an instrument that I think he made it in a block of flats. It was this instrument he made, and it would vibrate, and it vibrated so strongly that the building started to shake and crack on the ground and everything. I thought, good golly, if that's from vibration and we are in sync with vibration, it affects us because we are whatever % water. How about, thinking that maybe thoughts, actions and feelings can create vibrations that other people can feel? Everything can feel it. It's Tao. That's what it is. And anyway, I was just absolutely delighted with all of this kind of, I don't know what you'd call it, just information, but information is not the right word for it for me. It's
this is the ultimate problem with talking about Tao and these things that there are no words. Like the reality of what we're trying to talk about can be expressed more through vibration. This is why I always say I don't have to come on at 6 a.m. every day and talk to you. You can receive this without me, without it being so conspicuous.
Yes.
Yes. Shaking a house until its foundation is cracking is conspicuous. But I don't know anybody that I've met through Wisdom or Noom Vibe that hasn't had their foundation shook and is still here, right? Like we just talking to Cecilia and talking to you, and it's like everybody that has been, and that does that mean that it's Wisdom or Noom Vibe that did it? No. And does it? But this is just a microcosm of the bigger space of Earth, of all that is happening, right? Like, but it's all happening slowly, and I've connected with people in a very, this is a very conspicuous way, but the connections that I have with them are very subtle. Like our relationship is very subtle. It can't be like we've never met in person. Right? We've never connected but we've done this thing online, but then we've also done things vibrationally or energetically. We've also connected in that way. Yeah. And that vibration has rippled through your entire family.
Yes.
And so,
and even acquaintances that I meet now, even new faces and everything, all of that vibration is still going out there like the ripples on a lake. It's fantastic.
Right. And you are, like you're witness to that, but there's no words that can be, like we could describe it. This is what we talk about when the Tao says the great masters were often misunderstood. We can only describe how they must have appeared. You can describe what it looks like in the manifestation. However, there's something else happening here.
Absolutely.
And the thing that's going on is that we're having increased amount of faith in it. We are being asked, we are moving ourselves in a place, where just like Cecilia had trusting the process, she's having increasing amounts of faith in the process. And as she has more faith in the process reveals more of itself. The more she tries to talk about it, the more we try to talk about it, the more we start to condense it and try and sum up all that this is. And it can't be done. And it's best to not.
Talks, though, when she talks, you can feel it in her voice, though. You can feel what she's expressing in her energy.
And it's so much better.
Can feel that in her.
Right. And that's the subtle.
Yes.
And that's the truth. The words aren't truth. The words are stand-ins. They're straw men for what we're trying to say.
They're interpretation, aren't they?
Yeah, and their interpretation from a specific vantage point, a singular subjective experience. And yes, it's pointing to an objective truth, but that's the best we can do. And we got 81
Yeah.
verses of the Tao that at least starts with the idea that no matter what you read here, it's not it.
The thing that I was going to say was that there is so much more than we can perceive.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there is so much more going on within this planet, within this experience that we're having, that we can actually see. There's so much more that we don't know. Even we couldn't even begin to imagine it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's how totally full it is.
Right. And that's why I tell people the whys and the becauses don't matter, because we're just making those up anyway.
Yes. Yeah.
Why did you do this? Pfft, fuck if I know.
Yeah. I do that a lot.
You know, like, I don't know why I did it. Like, I remember being a kid and my parents asking me, why did you do that? And I would just stare blankly going, really, I have no idea why I did that, but I'm in trouble now. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's not good. Well, let's find a number.
Okay. Can we go for number 59? Thank you.
Serving Others is the title. You know, this is an interesting title because I always look at people that are like, I'm helping the people, I'm helping the people, I'm helping the people. And I'm always thinking, no, you're not.
You're not.
You want...
Absolutely. Yeah, no, you're not. The only person you're helping is you, love.
Right. Yeah. And that's not a selfish thing. It's just like, stop fooling yourself into and trying to get everybody else. It's about the people. It's about the people. I have this business to be a millionaire because it's about the people. And it's like, well, yeah. I would argue that. But let's see what this has to say.
Okay.
While serving others, be as reserved as you can be. Be like Tao. Nurture all things without influencing them. This is possible through moderation. Free yourself from the constraints of your own ideas. Respect all things as they are and remove their limits. Embrace this virtue, and your limits are removed as well. Find within yourself both solid ground and yielding sky. Be at one with Tao, and the landscape creates itself. Limitless, you achieve immortality. You know, this transitioned so nicely because we start with while serving others, and we end with limitless, you achieve immortality. This isn't about you serving others so that they achieve immortality. It starts with serving others, be as reserved as you can be. And it ends with you're limitless. And you've achieved immortality. This isn't... So as this is about serving others, who are the others other than you? Like you are within all of these others.
Yep.
And the growth that others have affects and helps you grow.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I was talking to Christina Holly yesterday, and this sentence came up. It was your tribe. You know, the people around you are you. And as we lift ourselves, as we adventure into this wonderful experience that we have, we are lifting everyone. Those ripples again, those ripples on the lake. That's how it is when you serve you. You're not making ripples on a lake so that the lake can feel it or the banks can feel it. You're just doing it anyway. And, you know, it's kind of if you're serving others, where's your train of thought then? Is it in serving another person or is it in yourself? So maybe being reserved is a good thing.
Yeah. And it's don't try to influence them to do something or to be something, because that's once again saying you should be something, as we were talking with Cecilia.
And that's the measuring stick again.
Right. And then we have this measure.
As well. Yeah. So that's where the limit comes from, limiting others, limits yourself.
And the first, it's possible through moderation. And what's the first of the list? Free yourself from the constraints of your own ideas.
Yeah.
Free yourself of the chains that bind you to your own ideas. Free yourself of the smallness of what you think is right, what you think is the right way to go about it, what you think is the right way to have been brought up. Free yourself of your own ideas. Respect all things as they are and remove their limits. Respect what you think. Respect your parents as they are, not as you wanted them to be, because now they can be more. Because as you judge them, they close off to the judgment. Because as I say always, judgment stagnates energy. Yours and others.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
Embrace this virtue. Go on.
I had a conversation with my mum. She rang me up. I don't speak to her very often. And she rang me up and she said, I've made some mistakes. And I said, you made no mistakes. Everything you've done has been, how it should be, how it is, And so I said to her, just live your life. Know that your children are well and that you gave them life. And everything they do is because you did that. You did all the things you did to give me all the information that I needed to be the person that I am today.
Yeah, and I'm not the person you thought I was going to be, but fuck off. Like, why should I be that?
Yeah, exactly. It was a lovely conversation. I've not spoken to her since, and that was probably about a year ago now. But what a great conversation, because it released her, and it released me.
Yeah.
Took the limits
you don't have to
off.
be something for someone else. And this is how you serve others. You serve others by not having expectations of them.
Yes.
This is finding within yourself solid ground so you can support them and yielding sky so you can let them go.
Yeah. And it's lovely. What a lovely
Be
verse.
at one with Tao. What's that?
What a lovely verse that
What was
one
that?
is.
Yeah. Serving others.
It's an interesting one.
I'll send this to you. I know you have it, but
more absorption.
Just keep it up. Oh, and the person that was Gilly, I think went away, unfortunately. But I'm going to continue to look at this serving others and don't cut yourself together. Cecilia mentioned how she was excited that they both connected, and they always do, and they always do connect through our conversation. I mean, if our conversation was different, it might not have seemed to connect, but it always does. It always seems to connect really beautifully. While serving others, be as reserved as you can be. And if we look back at don't cut yourself, it's like the fear of death is important if you want to rule other people, although you have to artificially instill that fear. That's not being reserved. You're trying to control and manipulate. Fear of death is important if you want to rule over people. The thing is in this text, it's not telling you be nice necessarily. It's saying, yes, if you want to rule over people, you will have to make them afraid. And it's telling you how to do that. You can kill somebody in order to make them afraid. And go ahead and do that. And if you do that, Tao is going to support you. However, you are going to find it difficult. Right? You are going to find it difficult. Like, you can get people to be afraid of you. And while serving others, you could be very controlling over people. And what it says here, if we look at both of these, right? While serving others, be as reserved as you can be. Well, I want others to serve me. I want to control people. I want to rule over people. So I'm going to make sure that they're afraid to die. However, in the bottom of this, it says, you can go ahead and do that. However, you are going to cut yourself. Because there has always been only one Tao. There's always been only one executioner. There's always been only one person conducting this whole symphony. And if you want to take their place, you can try, but you're of the manifestation. You're going to die sometime. Tao's not, because Tao is within all things. And in doing that, in being that, it's all others are going to leave the fear space. Yes, they will, but not before, right? Like Julie wrote me and said, people are going to be leaving the space of fear soon. And that's great. And I agree, but not without fear kicking and screaming on the way out, right? It's going to, like, that's why people are so scared now. That's why people use fear, they use fear to manipulate people, right? If we look at politics, if we look at marketing, if we look at all the stuff in the world today, if we look at the businesses, if we look at, everybody wants to use fear. And they sit there and they say, well, I'm serving you. I'm making, I mean, I just heard this morning that, a speech Donald Trump made, which is like, women are more scared than ever. I'll be your protector, right? This is him, talking about fear of death, essentially. Just like you've been attacked and I'm going to be your protector, right? You have to artificially instill that fear. And once that's in place, people can rally around you or whatever. But, and he's sitting there saying he's serving others, but is he? Or is he really just serving himself? It's an interesting question. He's the one that has to answer that, just like you're the one that has to answer it for you. It's interesting at the end of this. It's like we also talk about, like, don't cut yourself and the fear of death and stuff. And at the end of 59, it talks about immortality. Limitless, you achieve immortality. And is that in your body? I got 2 people in line, Spring Blossom and Cinnamon. I'm going to bring Cinnamon up and see Spring Blossom. I hope you can stick around to see if Cinnamon wanted to come up or if that was an error. Yep, that was an error. Spring Blossom, here you come. So I want to hear what you have to say about all this that I'm talking about here.
I was thinking of
Hey, Blossom, how you doing?
something that is restricting people also from being fully alive in the world. A lot of the fear restricts, the individual. It's not just about the way in which it's being used to control and manipulate other people, but it's also that people become so afraid that they're not themselves, they're not performing in the world in the way that would be spontaneous or, that kind of thing. So, yeah, that's all. I was just thinking that. And I can relate to that as well, that there's been a lot of times in my life where I've held back because of not wanting to be judged or not wanting other people to see my vulnerability or, that kind of thing. It's fear that is, causing that.
Yeah, and, throughout our lives, when we observe people being embarrassed or when we observe people being abused or when we observe people being wrong and then shunned or shamed or whatever, we don't want that. We become afraid of that. And we do that, right? We as a tribe or whatever shame people so that everyone stays the same, so that you can stay within the limits of what I can accept. And when this is what this don't cut yourself means when it talks about it's important to artificially instill fear into the hearts of others by making an example of people. So it's like you may have seen somebody when you were a little girl be shamed and ostracized in school. And in that, you're like, okay, well, I don't want to be shamed or ostracized, or I want to align with them, but I know that I'm going to be, like, because for me, I'm a contrarian. I love being the thing that people don't want me to be, but that was through fear as well, fear of being like everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah, I relate to that too.
Yeah.
I think fear has a lot to do with the way in which people, most of us have been inflicted from an early age, and the education system does it, and the parental system does it, and the controlling forces of the government rules and regulations does it. There's so many ways that people are under that control. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I just had this burst of depression today because of fearing that someone is judging me.
Oh.
But it's going now. But it was quite strong, and I just have to sit with that feeling and try not to project or judge it, but just experience myself feeling uncomfortable and quite ill in a way, with no reason health-wise to feel that. But that, it seems that's the only way we can really recover ourselves from that without making it a big thing, making it into a big deal.
Right.
Yeah.
It's we pick a number.
22.
22. Let's see what the Tao has for us.
Okay.
So this is one that I've read recently, looking away from what you want. Depending on what you want, right? Like you have to know both sides. The end of this, we're going to see this line that says near the end, or I guess it's not near the end. He who wants it all must know what all includes, and to be respected, you're going to have to understand being disrespected. So I'm going to read this, and it is, and I want to keep the focus on like the desire, the expectation, or the desire to be respected, the desire to get what you want. To become complete, know that you're partial. To become straight, know that you're crooked. To become full, know that you're empty. To be new, know that you're worn out. He who wants it all must know what all includes. Now, this is what the master does. Thus, the master stays centered in Tao and becomes an example for the world. Because she knows her light is forfeit, people can see it. Because she has no point to prove, people can trust her words. Because she has no identity, she becomes a mirror for others. Because she has nothing to attain, nothing can be kept from her. Thus, when it is said to become complete, know that you're partial, it's wise to heed and surrender to it. Only by living in collaboration with Tao can one find completion. Something stood out to me when I read that energetically for this time that I'm reading it. And that was, which one was it? Well, it was in this, where because she knows her light is forfeit, people can see it. And because she has no identity, she becomes a mirror for others. When you have no identity, when you don't have anything that you want to be and other people judge you, what they're doing is they're judging a part of themselves that they see within you. Now, you can take that personally, or you can recognize that there is a part of this that's me, the part that's experiencing this. I feel they're judging me, and so I need to look at that. Or you can take their judgment as the thing that you are the victim of. But really, their judgment is they're judging something within themselves because you're showing them a part of themselves, right? Because you have no identity. Now, you may still have identity, and if you still have identity, there is an experience that you're having that's at odds with that identity, and you have to figure that out. That doesn't have to do anything with that person. It has to do with what that person brought up within you.
Wow.
But that's what stood out to me for this conversation. Did anything stand out to you?
The word forfeiting. I was thinking, what does forfeiting mean?
What was the word? I'm sorry.
She forfeits her...
Forfeit. Right. Because she knows her light is forfeit, people can see it. Forfeit means it can be taken or given up at any point. You don't have control, right? Like, you could die at any moment.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's your light, right? Your light is what your soul, your light is what is within you. And because we are in the world, we can't hold on to anything. And even the light that you have to offer, nobody has to receive it.
Yeah.
So it's forfeit. What it means by forfeit is like if your house was forfeit, someone could take it at any moment. You know, like the government could come in and, claim eminent domain and then just take your house. You have no recourse. That's what forfeit means.
Right. So her life can be gone and it doesn't matter.
That's right.
Yeah.
She doesn't have any recourse. The Tao can take her light and someone else can take her light. But and because it's forfeit, people can see it. Because you know that it can be taken, you respect it when it's there. And people can see it. Because you respect that light that you carry every moment because you know it's forfeit. You know it can be given up at any moment.
Yeah.
And that inspires people. When you love your life, when you really love it, you're not trying to love it. People see you. People see that light within you every moment.
Yeah.
And because she has no point to prove, people can trust her words. The moment you get, and you know this, right? The moment you have a conflict of interest, can I trust your words? Can I trust what you're saying? Right? Like, you have something to gain from this conversation. If you have something to gain, then I can only trust you so far.
Right. Yeah.
And it's the same thing with your light, right? Because you understand that your light is this gift that can be taken at any moment. Yeah. You are so grateful this moment. You're not trying, and life is connected to everything around you, and you respect everything you come across as being part of you. Like that's powerful.
That's precious.
Even when somebody comes in and makes you feel depressed or makes you feel hurt or whatever, it's like, oh, this is part of it. Far out. Let me check it out. Let me sit with this, right? Like this is just as good. It's just on the other side of the spectrum.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I've had a rough day today.
I love you.
Oh, I love you too. Okay. Well, let this other person come up. Are they still there?
No, they're not. That's okay. I'm just quietly holding you. We're just gonna sit here and just feel supported.
It was interesting to hear what you said to Julie, that you had never met her and that you had such a strong connection. And I felt that from the first time I came onto your what do you call it?
Show, whatever.
Platform.
Yeah,
Yeah.
platform. Good, yeah.
So yeah, just that connection is so strong. It's so beautiful. I get such a lot out of it when I come on and connect with you, Mark and John.
No, I'm so glad. I mean, and I get so much just talking with all of you and presenting this work. This text is really what, helped me stay sober and clean. Help me love my life and love who I am and receive who I am. And even though I'm clean and sober, just as all of this expresses, it's not outside of the realm of possibility for me to engage those again. I just don't want to, it's okay, and I had to get to that place because I can't live with, I've found through Tao that living with rules and expectations and all of that stuff doesn't get the most out of who I am.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a few things in my life that I really want to clean up, and it's giving me that opportunity for the next couple of weeks to have this space where I've got a whole house to myself, and I can really tune in and figure out and use some of the herb medicines as well, and do the yoga and go online and do all that sort of thing. And it just gives me an opportunity to have a deeper commitment. It's a commitment to living a fuller life, really, and not be pulled and shoved around by those desires and addictive behaviour, whether that's thought patterns or actual physical behaviour.
Nope, you just dropped out. If you wanted to come up and finish up, that'd be fine. Otherwise, I'm going to start to sign off. Thank you so much for coming up. Each and every one of you. Cecilia, Julie, Blossom, thank you. Once again, this is Tao of the Day. I wanted everybody to know that there is my workshop Blossom is going to come back up and say a few things. You can find a link to my workshop in my links on my link tree, but Blossom, you're back.
I just wanted to say one more thing, which was when Cecilia was on and she talked about that 6 women were all coming to the same evolving state of consciousness, and that whole thing of that's what I feel is happening here when we communicate with you, that Julie and Cecilia and quite a few of the others that don't come to mind right now, that there's a movement within us that is coming out of the conversations we're having with you. So, that's what I wanted to say, Martin.
Yeah, that's how, at the end of this, it always that's how you find immortality, right? You just be yourself, and you're not expecting to be a part of anything, but you affect people in ways that are all, and each and every one of us are doing that every day, affecting people, and we have no idea what we're doing and how we're doing it. I came up here, 3 years ago to talk about Tao, and I just keep doing it because I love doing it. So I'm really grateful that people seem to benefit from it, but really, in the end, it's me who benefits so much.
Yeah, as it is with each one of us, actually.
Yeah. Oh, I love you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you too. Ciao, Bella.
Ciao. Okay, thank you guys once again for joining me. Once again, I do have a Tao Te Ching workshop coming up through Satnam Yoga Chicago. It's going to be on Zoom as well as in person. So if you're local, you can be there. Sort of a book release. This was all because a friend of mine said, you got to do a book release. And I was like, why would I do a book release? The book is released. It's like, why do I have to have a party about it? And it is about celebrating me. And if you'd like to celebrate me, you can go to the workshop. I love talking about Tao, and we'll do it's going to be a 2.5 hour sort of deep dive into all of the different things that Tao can offer us. And, I would love to see you guys there. You can check it out in my link tree in my profile. So you go to my profile, there are links, and there's 2 links. I think one's my website. If you go to my website, there is a link there to the Satnam Yoga website where you can find my name or my Tao workshop, and you can sign up. It's going to be on November 2nd, and I'm looking forward to it. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I'm Martin John. This was Tao of the Day, and until next time, keep recovering yourself.